let's go ahead and get to the movie preview right here. This is the Love Bug, or the movie review right here. This is the Love Bug, released to theaters for a very brief preview on Christmas Eve, 1968, but to the mass on March 13th, 1969. Directed by Robert Stevenson. Now, that's the same guy that directed Mary Poppins. The screenplay is by Bill Walsh and Don DeGrady. Well, those are the same guys that did Mary Poppins. Weird. Produced by Bill Walsh, starring Dean Jones, Michelle Lee, Buddy Hackett, and David Tomlinson. You know, that's the guy that played George Banks in Mary Poppins. Here's the movie preview right here.
You used to be a big track driver. Ain't you got no pride?
I ran out of pride when I ran out of cars.
Have you ever seen that car before?
No, I haven't.
Hey, he's a cute little fella.
One of your showboat tricks, Mr.
I tell you, I had nothing to do with it. They make 10,000 cars. They make them exactly the same way. One or two of them turn out to be something special.
The winner, number 53, Jim Douglas.
You're doing terrific, Herbie, but don't make it look too easy.
There isn't a driver in the world who can get that speed out of a car like that. He's done something to it. What do you say, Douglas? Winner to become the sole owner of the car.
You got yourself a deal, Thorndyke. Racing. That's the name of the game, isn't it?
Okay, that actually was the Disney remake movie preview, where it's kind of like badass, like better. The original, I have Bernie, for you and you only. I have chopped and sliced the original 1968 trailer in audio form. It's like 4 minutes. It's like 4 minutes long, and it is unusable here. Because it tells you half the movie. So I sliced up the audio a little bit. Throw it in here as you wish. Now, the music here was by George Bruns, and the sounds, and we're going to do a segment on this, the sounds were by a very famous sound creator for Disney Imagineers named Jimmy McDonald. And he created all sorts of sounds for Disney animated features. Remember, this was a time when there was no CGI, there was no computer, there was no nothing. Everything was done practically. If he needed something to sound like rain, he would fill a barrel full of peas, drill the barrel full of holes, put the barrel on its side, put a rod through it on dowels on either side, and then spin it and let the peas fall out. And he would record that sound, and it would sound like rain. I mean, that's the type of practical effects that they were doing here. And he did all the effects for Herbie in here. Herbie sounds like Herbie sounds because of Jimmy McDonald. Herbie was using a real horn, but he had it hooked up to a rheostat. So he could...
Add some emotion to it.
Yeah, there's a couple practical effects in here I'm going to show you that hopefully we can have in the video. It was distributed by Buena Vista, but the production company, of course, was Walt Disney. Did you know what else Walt Disney did? Mary Poppins.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. The budget was $5 million, which would be $47 million today. The box office was $51.2 million, which today would be $480 million.
Wow.
This was a 10X movie. It was very, very, very successful. Second highest grossing movie the whole year.
Interesting.
Okay, did you guys see it?
Yes. I've seen it many, many times as a kid, but this was the first time I've seen it in probably, I know, at least 30 years.
How about you, Bern? Is this a Bern? Did you see this in the theater?
I believe we did back in the day. I watched it with my parents here in my sister's haven here, and we were talking about that, whether we had seen it, but we had to have seen it in the theater back in the day when it came out. There was no Netflix back then. There was no large screen TVs back then, unless you sat real close and it ruined your eyes. So I think so. And this is the first time I had to sit down and watch it critically. to look for the things that we're going to talk about. So it was quite a different experience.
There's numerous Herbie productions, and we didn't, when we were kids, I mean, the way that you would watch a movie numerous times is recorded on VCR off of TV. And this was not one that I had. This was one that my parents would rent for me at Mr. Movies when I would beg them to. And it would be a big deal if we got it for the whole weekend and I'd watch it over and over and over again. But the one that I saw the most was the fourth Herbie movie. So in the line of movies, it goes The Love Bug. Then the second movie is Herbie Rides Again. Then the third is Herbie Goes to Monte Carlo. That's probably my favorite configuration of Herbie, the car. Then Herbie Goes Bananas. That's the one where he goes to Mexico and gets thrown off a ship and turned rusty. Then there's the Love Bug TV series, which was a 5-episode canceled run in 1982 on CBS, where Jim Douglas reprised his role and was dating a lady with 3 kids, one of whom was a young Claudia Wells, who would soon become Jennifer in Back to the Future. Then there was the Love Bug made-for-TV movie in 1997, starring Bruce Campbell, and Dean Jones made another cameo there as Jim Douglas. And then there's the final one to date, Herbie Fully Loaded, in 2005 with Lindsay Lohan. And that's the first time that they take Herbie and they give him blinking eyes, which is just maddening to me. I hate that. I hate that so much. Now, there are some other redeeming facts about that movie that came out after the fact. I think you guys saw the text with Lindsay Lohan's prison time. But that's for a different day. That's the one where Herbie races in NASCAR. So out of all these movies, I mean, I have them all memorized and I know them all by heart. I would absolutely say that this probably isn't my first choice, but it's the OG and it's the classic. So here is the IMDb summary. Down on his luck, race car driver Jim Douglas teams up with a little VW bug that has a mind of its own, not realizing Herbie's worth until a sneaky rival plots to steal him. Not wrong. Yep. Not wrong.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the AI summary. And in this case, the AI I chose was Gemini. Sometimes I use Claude, but this was Gemini. The Love Bug follows a down-on-his-luck race car driver, Jim Douglas, who reluctantly acquires a sentient, pearl-white Volkswagen Beetle named Herbie. After realizing the little car possesses a mind of its own and exceptional racing skills, Jim rises to the top of the California racing circuit. The success sparks a bitter feud with a sneaky, egotistical rival dealer, Peter Thorndyke, who attempts to steal Herbie back and sabotage Jim's team. Might be too much detail.
When I was doing research, I kept seeing that the car was pearl white, and to me, that's not pearl white.
I have a detail for you.
Okay.
That I actually have a detail and a question for you.
Okay.
Coming up here in a little bit. Because
now your review.
It's not pearl white. I don't know what it is. So here's my summary. Bern, a little Herbie summary music. I want like that happy Disney-fied, drugged up 60s music. You know, all that. So most of you watching here on YouTube, welcome, by the way, will associate this show with the Dukes of Hazzard. And you should. That is our main thing. But we reserve the right to date around. You know, maybe see if the other TV or movie cars like to party. You know, like KITT from Knight Rider. He's fine. The DeLorean from Back to the Future. It's a favorite. Toretto had like 18 Chargers. Sure, they're all good. But personally, if I ever left the General Lee for another screen used car, it would 100% be for Herbie the Love Bug. Today, for the first time ever in the history of our show, we review the Love Bug. And it's not Herbie the Love Bug. It's the Love Bug. It's the first Disney series of over 30 years, actually 68 to 2005. It's the story of a 63 VW Beetle wearing stock VW paint with a stock 40-horse VW air-cooled engine, being alive, overcoming the odds, winning the hearts of us all by being something that any other screen-used car isn't. It is alive. And I mean not like we see the General Lee is alive. It's actually alive, sentient, and apparently you can cut it in half without being dead. I give this movie 10 Disney-fied happy Herbie corn dogs. I flat out love it. I love it. My
Yep.
favorite, though, in the series is Herbie Goes to Monte Carlo. That's my favorite.
I'm trying to think if I've seen the other ones. I think I have seen the Monte Carlo. But I think, trying to remember any other movie, but this is the one that I always go to, that I saw the most. So I don't know
Really?
if, yeah.
Just because the OG-ness of it?
Well, I mean, on the scene where they, the car comes in half and it, it's stretched out. I mean, I remember that very well as a kid, watching this, but, and all the scenes, I'm like, oh yeah, this is the part where this comes up. And like I said, it's been many years and I didn't have the movie memorized, but it's kind of like reminiscing when I was watching it again, but I don't really remember any other Herbie movies, but I'm sure I've probably seen the others.
All right. I will admit that this one was a little too old-timey for me, even when I was a kid. I didn't understand most of what I was seeing. So the gist of it is Jim Douglas, he's a racing driver, but it's now more defined than that. And I don't know what series I don't know if it's SCCA. I don't know if he's running a sports car series. I don't know if he's in a crash up derby. I don't know what the hell it is he does, but he's a racing driver. And he's in his 30s, and he's racing against people who are, teenagers. And it's not going well for him. He lives with Buddy Hackett, who at this time means nothing to most of our audience. But back then, Bern, how big a star was Buddy Hackett? He was probably the biggest star in this movie.
He was huge because he would appear in other movies, and he would go on at that time The Late Show, which was the Johnny Carson show, and appear multiple times on that. There's some great clips of that you can go look up. Mm-hmm. But he and Dean Jones and Mr. Banks, they were all staples in these kind of movies over and over again, the comedy hallmarks of the time. So you could always easily associate those people together.
Well, the two of those guys' characters are buddies. And before they did this in Ghostbusters, these guys were living in a fire station.
Is that what this was? I was trying to figure out what kind of studio apartment this thing was.
I think it was supposed to be, and here's the reason I know it, because in the next movie, Herbie still lives there at the fire station, but he lives with Grandma Steinmetz, the grandmother of Buddy Hackett in the next movie, and it's a fire station. And they actually go down the fire pole and stuff like that.
Oh.
But it's the movie's set in San Francisco, but it's Disneyfied San Francisco. So you don't see homeless dudes in the street taking a whiz and
tents and everything. Yeah.
And tents and drugs. And, you don't see that. And it's there are scenes that are shot on location, but most of it is studio shot. Matte paintings. It's very Disneyfied. Not a lot of diversity in this one.
No.
Throwing it out there.
Well, speaking of the culture, there is one reference to it the policemen make that one of them has spent too much time on his Haight-Ashbury beat, referring directly to the.
Boy, was he lucky. This little car saved his life.
What do you mean the car saved his life?
Well, that's what it looked like for a moment there. You know how funny things can look in the fog sometimes?
I think you've been up on that Haight-Ashbury beat too long.
San Francisco culture of the time.
The gist of it is that Herbie is just alive, and you just have to accept that this car is alive. Jim Douglas somehow ends up needing a car, and Herbie adopts him. And I guess we're supposed to think that Herbie's kind of like a dog.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
Certainly alive, can think, can feel, can reason, can choose. Can't seem to be killed. Like you can cut him in half and he lives. So there's that. He befriends Jim Douglas. Jim protects him from an evildoer. Skipping forward, Jim Douglas figures out that Herbie's fast, and he starts racing him. And I did do some Googling. I got a few references, and this is why I was so confused as a kid watching this movie. So I think we're seeing tracks like Willow Springs and Laguna Seca, like real footage of real tracks. And back then they were running all sorts of series that sadly they don't run much today. But back then that they did. Oh gosh, what's the Carroll Shelby movie? Ford versus Ferrari.
Mm-hmm.
You know how they kind of portray that era?
Yeah.
The tracks of the time. That's what they're running out there. Well, anyway, during one of the races, they say that Herbie is a Class D special. And I just thought D stood for Douglas, like Jim Douglas. But I went and Googled it, and that's an SCCA home-built car. That's a thing. That's a real class in SCCA racing. So I think you're supposed to conclude that Herbie's out there racing against real cars. And, there's no other Beetles out there racing in the classes that he's running. Eventually, Jim figures out that Herbie's alive, and somehow you have to decide if Jim's driving has anything to do with anything.
Right.
Is he needed here? Is Herbie better because he's there, or is Herbie doing it for him?
Oh, Herbie's absolutely doing it for him because Herbie, the dog car, has adopted Jim because he stood up for him, and now he's found a friend, someone he's never had in his life before. And so he's doing this to help his new owner. Absolutely. And that's where the conflict comes in because Jim thinks it's him, but it's not. And everybody around him knows it's not him.
But is it?
Yes.
Because the whole movie continues on, and in the end, Jim has to drive Herbie to a win to keep possession of Herbie from falling into not only the hands of Wang Chung or Tang Wu, the Chinese owner, the Herbie Wu Tang, whoever it is. Herbie becomes heartbroken when Jim thinks that he's the reason of success. Herbie demolishes the not alive brand new Lamborghini that Jim Douglas has bought. Herbie then attempts to, maybe he can't. He attempts to commit suicide by throwing himself off the Golden Gate Bridge. Herbie, the car. Mm-hmm. He is saved by Jim Douglas, and at that point forward, they are inseparable. But Herbie, he could just race without them all, right? Couldn't they just watch?
He could, but just as a dog can go for a walk by himself, he would rather go with his master on a leash and obey and please his master. So he is listening to commands. He wants to please those around him. That's why he waits for Buddy to hold up the sign. Not yet, Herbie. Okay, Herbie, now.
They win the race and they save the day. Now, the fun parts about this is, though, how the car is alive. Herbie at one point gets drunk. And I mean stone cold, messed up drunk. Thorndyke, the evil guy that's the bad guy character, he was Mr. Banks from Mary Poppins. And David, I got his name down here somewhere. David, what's his name, Bernie? David something. David Tomlinson. He owns the exotic car dealership with the cars that real men race, and then he has this Volkswagen here that's a real pain in his butt. He tries to go meet with Tennessee Steinmetz to sabotage the car because he's a weekend racer himself, and he's losing races to this Volkswagen. So Tennessee Steinmetz makes him Irish coffee.
Here we go.
Very refreshing. Oh, thank you.
Up the Irish.
Okay, when I saw this movie, I thought Irish coffee was a dessert. I made my dad an Irish coffee after watching this movie. And I said, Dad, I need to make you an Irish coffee. And he said, you do? I said, I do. And I said, can you give me all the stuff? And he goes, yeah.
You got to be 21, but okay.
And I know, I was like 7. So I had him make coffee, and I said, I need Irish whiskey. And he goes, well, just use this. I don't know what he gave me, but I put booze in it, and then I had him buy the spray whipped cream, and I made him an Irish. I don't know if it was good, but I absolutely made an Irish coffee because of this movie. Herbie gets drunk in it. Herbie is sad in it. Herbie is happy in it. And I love all the practical effects. Like when he's scared, he shakes and his fenders and his bumper rattle around. Bern, have you ever had a Volkswagen Bug?
I never have. I've driven one years and years and years ago, and remember thinking how cool this is. Just being inside, the sound, the like that, and the stick shift and all that.
Yeah, that's exactly amazing. What they sound like.
Yeah.
Now, Cornell, your brother's into VWs, right? Has he had numerous Beetles?
No, just
airport stuff, buses and stuff.
He's had 2 Beetles. He has one currently. It's a Super Beetle, early 70s, and the one before was, I don't remember what year it was, but it was this earlier body style Beetle. But it was pretty rough, and he ended up selling it.
Let me show you guys something that I found kind of behind the scenes. This is a clip from a YouTube video called "Keeping Walt in Disney," and this is about how the sound effect components were generated for this. And I specifically got this for you, Bernie. I thought you would truly enjoy it.
I'm sure that in the Love Bug, I'm sure there were many effects that were used natural that were recorded when they were shooting in Northern California.
But there was always a situation where Jimmy had to add a little something special. There was a scene where Herbie's wheel was to come off and bounce down the hill. Well, if that had been tracked with realistic sound, it wouldn't have been funny, it wouldn't have been charming. And yet what Jimmy did with it turned it into something that was very nice. He looked at the scene, and there again, he decided that realistic sounds would not work for something like this. He took a balloon, and he began by hitting the balloon with a drumstick. And, as he played around with that, he felt like that it might work better if he hit it from the inside. So he put different things inside the balloon, ended up being BBs. And he tried one and then several. And he became enamored with the sound that the BBs made, not only bouncing around inside, but when they rolled around in there as well. And especially when he gave it a quick spin and a thump, voila, that effect was born. And it's a classic little effect.
I always got a big kick out of David Tomlinson getting squirted by Herbie when he showed his displeasure with Mr. Tomlinson. And you hear this squirt of sound. You look down and here's his foot just coated with some black heavy oil. I know that all the sounds of Herbie and throughout the picture, the horns and the oil squirting, were made by him. And he did a beautiful job of it.
Sound is very important in creating the character. Herbie is a great example of that, where that car had to come to life. It had to be a creature that was endearing.
The soulful horn effects that Herbie would emanate when he was sad or happy or excited gave that Herbie 53 a personality, and that's what brought it alive, and that's maybe why people related to it so much, that it had a soul.
Jimmy put the horns on little rheostats, and he would play with the pitch of them, and as it would quiver and talk and sigh and sound happy. Well, those are clever things that he did. And if you're going to give it any kind of life, you got to humanize it. And so he did that humanizing with all of the sounds that normally the car would make, even when it would fall apart. It fell apart in a delightful, charming way. He used it discreetly, and he would not let it be abused. He knew when enough was enough, and he knew when too much was destroying what he...
There's more to it than that, but I thought you liked the practical effects. And Bernie, there's another part of this video where they say, video is not that important. Audio is what tells the story. It kind of goes on like that. All of the effects in here were practical. That's what's so neat about it.
Yeah.
Everything was done practically. They skipped the car off over a lake.
In our practice these days, there are things called sound libraries that you can purchase or you can lease, and it's millions and millions and millions of sounds on CD or from the cloud or something that you pull down, you drag into your editor, and you use them like that and manipulate them as you will. but it was always so much more fun to go out and make the effects. We did that several times on several productions in radio. We're doing radio theater productions. We would go out and make the sounds, and it was so much more fun, and it was so much more rewarding when you heard the final production, because you know what you did, but it sounded like it was supposed to sound when other people were experiencing it. So, man, you use that as much as you possibly can, but for the convenience, it's still a drag and drop kind of world now. But yeah, just so great. Thanks for doing that. That is so cool.
I like all the sound. I like the Chinese gas pump. When it hits the round dollar mark, it makes a gong like boom. It's probably racist, but it's very, very, very funny.
No.
Here's some production notes. Dean Jones credited the film's success to the fact that it was the last live-action film produced by Walt Disney Productions under Walt Disney himself's involvement. It was released just 2 years after Walt's death, but Walt Disney himself was involved in it. The original story for the film was Carboy Girl. Herbie was originally red. It's supposed to be red with a white stripe down the middle. There was originally a different female lead cast that all got changed at some point. Herbie competes in the Monterey Grand Prix, which, except for 1963, was not a sports car race. The actual sports car race held at Monterey was the Monterey Sports Car Championship at that time. Peter Thorndyke's Yellow Special is actually a 1965 Apollo GT. I've seen one of these now. Rare sports car sold by International Motor Cars of Oakland, California. It used an Italian-built body and chassis from Intermeccanica. I'm not sure how to say it. Produced, it had a small block Buick V8. All built there in Oakland. Car still exists today. The screen used car still exists today and has been restored to its on-screen presence. It has the number 14 on it. Before the production, Herbie was not specifically cast as a Volkswagen Beetle. Disney set up a casting call for dozens of cars. In the lineup, there were Toyotas, TBRs, Volvos, MGs, and also a pearl white Volkswagen Beetle. The Volkswagen Beetle was chosen as it was the only one that elicited the crew to reach out and pet it. It was kind of adorable. In the first movie, and I think only the first movie, the Volkswagen brand, name, logo, or shield does not appear anywhere in the film, and the car is not called a Beetle.
Yeah, they didn't get the licensing, I believe, but I'm guessing they did later on.
They did later on. In later ones, they'll call it the VW, and they'll show the VW logo on the hood, and they show the key, like the metal key that says VW in the key. Yeah. Those are super kind of cool. The number 53 was chosen because one of the film's producers was a fan of Donald Drysdale, the baseball player for the LA Dodgers. He was number 53. So that's why Herbie's 53.
I remember seeing that as well.
The car's name of Herbie, at least according to Wikipedia, but I'm not sure this is right, was from one of Buddy Hackett's skits about a ski instructor named Klaus, who speaks with a German accent as he introduces his fellow ski instructors, who are named Hans, Fritz, Wilhelm, and Sandor. At the end of the skit, Hackett would say, "If you ain't got a Herbie, pronounce Hoiby, I ain't going." Huh. I don't know if that's true.
I did hear that it was Buddy Hackett that came up with the name Herbie, but I didn't hear the backstory. I know he came up with the name in the movie, but also, in real life. But I didn't know the backstory of that specific skit.
Okay, here's the color question. Herbie is for people that are actual VW heads and know the like how Corn Dog knows the difference between what month a 68 Charger was built. Like, there are people that know this stuff about VW Beetles. Herbie's a 63 VW Beetle. He is pearl white, code L87 VW paint. It is a non-metallic white paint. There's no color. It's an off-white. So is what it is.
Okay, so they just call it pearl white, but it's not exactly pearl, as in like the metallics and all. So I guess it's just the name that they called it.
It's just the trade name is pearl white.
Because I kept seeing pearl white, and I was like, no, that's not even. It doesn't even have any resemblance to any pearl whatsoever. But it's just the name. It's like saying Hemi Cuda or Hemi Orange or Tor Red the same thing.
Plum crazy. It's just a name.
Yeah.
Herbie has a factory sliding rag top. 1963 would be the last year the factory would offer a sliding rag top. If you want a sunroof going forward, it would be metal. Herbie does have a 1200cc engine with 40 horsepower. At one point, the Chinese owner jokes the car has the power of 40 horses, and it does.
Yeah.
And that's all it does. There are a lot of ways that VW nerds can tell years of Beetles apart. All I can tell you is I got to go by the big bulbous fenders, the turn signals. And what are those headlights called? Where it's a sealed beam headlight with a glass domey thing in front, like an old Porsche. What is that? You see it on a lot of foreign cars.
Yeah.
That era.
I don't know what you call it exactly. It's like a headlight protector, sort of.
Yeah, like the Ferris Bueller Ferrari has it.
Yeah.
James Dean Porsche had it. You know, it's all kind of. It just wasn't on an American car. I don't remember seeing that ever on an American car.
My dad's antique car has that. It is a glass lens, and then there's a bulb and a socket back behind it.
Is it a sealed beam bulb?
No.
Is that why it has the protector on it?
It's a bulb, 6 volt on that system, but, it's a bulb that slides in and locks into a socket. And then there is a glass lens over the headlight bucket itself.
Yeah. Okay. Model A's and Model T's, they all did that. But what you're saying is a sealed beam, and then it has a protective lens over it.
Yeah. I don't know even what that's called. But that's what he had. Like when you see a 67 Beetle, for example, they have a regular sealed beam mounted up front, and the headlight is more vertical. It's entirely I don't know what they call this.
The sports cars, I can see them doing that for aerodynamics, because it makes it slick and not a concave area for a headlight. But a Beetle, I don't think has ever been accused of being aerodynamic.
I think they call that a sealed beam with a protector on it.
That sounds good. We'll go with that.
Might be what it is. He has the little chrome bumpers. Whenever I see replica Herbies that are newer or Super Beetles, it makes me sick. It's like when people use 72 Chargers to make General Lees.
Yeah.
It just make you puke. Shooting locations were Riverside, California, Laguna Seca, Monterey, Willow Springs, all the classic spots. Andy Granatelli was the spokesman for STP, and he was the Racing Association president at the end. The real Andy Granatelli. The guy that was a terrible actor, that was Andy Granatelli. The real guy. The cars featured, aside from Herbie, were a 56 Ferrari 250 GT Berlinetta, a 57 Chevy 210, lots of them, a 59 Austin Healey 3000, a 60 Ferrari 250 GT Berlinetta, a 63 Apollo GT. That was the Thorndyke special. And that's a real car. I think it's been on Jay Leno's garage. I think actually Jay has one. Shelby 289 Cobra, Triumph Spitfire 4s, several Corvettes, several Jag XKEs of the era, and all those early era cars. Very, very, very cool cars. Not muscle cars, but sports cars of the era.
There was a Corvette in there, a Roadster, on one of the road course scenes.
Yeah, wasn't Corvette considered a sports car?
Yeah.
Then?
Yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah, no, pony cars.
No pony cars.
Yeah.
Box office mojo does not exist for 1969, but I pulled the top 5 movies. Number 5 at $15 million. These are all $1969. Was Hello Dolly. Number 4, Easy Rider. $16.9 million. Number 3, Midnight Cowboy, $20.5 million. Number 2, The Love Bug, here on domestics, was $21 million, even though that's not what the box office was. And number 1 was Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Okay, that makes sense. I don't know which one of these sets of numbers is right, but I thought it was more $50 million in box office from the time. So let's end with this, unless you guys have any specific Herbie facts and news. Real Herbie clip or not? I will play each of you one clip. You got to say, that's really from this Herbie movie. And if it's not, you get an extra point if you can tell me what it is from. Who would like to go first?
I will.
Bern, was this clip from The Love Bug or not?
You know something about champagne, sir?
Have a sure. If you tell me that the bubbles tickle your nose, I shall probably kill you.
Was that from The Love Bug?
Yes, it was.
Bing, you're right.
As he scratches his nose.
Yes.
Okay, I won't say anything.
She'll probably kill you. All right, Corndog, you're up.
Okay.
Was this from The Love Bug?
Why do you keep calling this car Ocho? Ocho means 8. Can't you read the numbers?
Sure, I can read the numbers. 5 and 3 are 8. Anyone knows that.
Oh, 5 and 3 are 8. Clearly, he's talking about Herbie there. Clearly.
No, that is not from this movie, but I don't know what it's from.
Okay, you're tied. That was from the fourth movie. Herbie Goes Bananas.
Gotcha.
He speaks Spanish. Bernie, was this from the movie The Love Bug?
There's no way we can pass him. Bruno was right. They never come back.
That was Jim Douglas, and that was definitely Herbie, and they were definitely racing.
I'm going to say yes, because it sounds right. The audio sounds right.
Perfect. That was a trick question, Bern. You are wrong. That was from Herbie Goes Monte Carlo. Herbie Goes to Monte Carlo. Jim Douglas is driving Herbie, but his co-pilot is Don Knotts.
I thought it sounded like him.
Yeah. Corndog.
I missed just to give Corndog hope.
I need it.
Yes, as you always do. Corndog, was this extended clip that does not actually, you don't hear Herbie, from the movie The Love Bug?
Never seen a bug with a spoiler.
Did you not touch that? Thank you.
Soft top on a race car. I like that. I like that. This car just winked at me. A race car just winked at you. I swear, the car just winked at me. Are you feeling okay? Is the pressure getting to you or anything? I'm fine. Fine. No problem, but I'm telling you, it just winked at me.
Okay, it sounded like Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson. But was that...
No,
it seemed to be looking at a Herbie.
Yeah, it was not from this movie. I don't know what it's from. I was going to say, until I recognized the voices, I was going to say possibly Fully Loaded.
It is Fully Loaded. You take the lead. Way to go. Bern.
I don't know that I've even seen that one.
Last one for you. Was this from the movie The Love Bug?
As close as you can get in half without being dead.
Okay, now that seems to be referring to something cut in half. The Love Bug was cut in half. Let's listen again.
As close as you can get in half without being dead.
Okay. Seems spot on.
Herbie was alive.
Yeah, Herbie was alive, and he was cut in half without being dead.
Yeah. That was not from the movie. That was the news commentary on national news that night after the race.
Bing! It absolutely was. 2 points.
I thought about that clip when we were talking about the car being in half earlier, and I was like, that'd be a perfect spot for this clip.
Yep, that was Dr. Nathan Warren. Final one to Corndog here. I think you got to get both to win. Was this from the movie The Love Bug?
Hey, want to hear the most annoying sound in the world? Guys!
Okay, was that from the movie The Love Bug?
No, it's far from it. That's Dumb and Dumber.
You're right. I had to make it even, and I needed one more clip, so I pulled it that way. All right, that concludes our review. I've already given it 10. Bern, what do you give this movie?
I give it 10 Herbie cooked in the glove box or under the hood of the air-cooled engine corn dogs, because it's so great. It's foreshadowing some great movies still to come in our series here, especially Short Circuit. How do you give a machine life and give it emotion? You know, you Short Circuit owes its entire life to Herbie and Love Bug. So 10 across the board.
10 for you. Corn Dog, how about you?
I give it 10 as well, but I don't know, it's like 9.9 because they were in San Francisco filming, and it would have been perfect since it was the same era and same time frame and everything if they had like a black 68 Charger and a green 67 or 8 Mustang Fastback, like, you know, just drive by in the background or something. That would have been pretty cool. And, you know, in Bullet, they do pass a Beetle multiple times, and, you know, that would have been an awesome little tie-in. But, yeah, definitely a 10. And one more little tidbit that I noticed that I never knew this, but in the race where they were in, I guess, Mexico, maybe, of this movie,
yeah,
you can see from Happy Days, Ralph Malph's Hot Rod. It made an appearance.
The one that's out racing in the dirt?
Yes.
I saw the Hot Rod there, but it was confusing. What would be
at the very start, it like had a front end, like a collision with another car, and then you see the car, truck, whatever it is, Hot Rod, go by, you know, across the screen. But I had to do some digging, and sure enough, it was the same car because it was owned by Hollywood Picture Car Company, and that just leased out vehicles, and so it was in there. And I think that would be 68, so that would be before Happy Days then. So I thought that was pretty cool.
I loved all the practical stunts, and I liked seeing all the cars in there. I think there's a bus in that same scene out in the Mexico race, and there's
a VW bus.
No, like a school bus.
Oh.
And there's a very similar one, and Herbie Goes Bananas. I think Herbie makes a cameo in Knight Rider. I've heard that. There's a scene where KITT passes a VW, but with no numbers, but stripes.
Yeah.
And I've heard that Herbie's in there as a cameo, but it's a neat movie. There's far more VW details than we can get to here, but it's fun. We all liked it.
They did film at Disney's Golden Oak Ranch, which is the same place they filmed
the tree. Is that?
Well, yeah, it's a lot of you'll see a lot of live oaks and just pasture land. And that was a lot of that was at Golden Oaks.
It does have a familiar Duke's feel there.
Even some of the storyline, you know, you got the bad guy that wants to get the hero car and just destroy it. I mean, that's very Boss Hoggish. So, you know,
Boss Hogg wants to get the generally. Could you imagine if the Duke boys actually just drove Herbie? He can do all the stuff.
Yeah,
he can do 2 wheels. He can jump.
They can keep the Charger.
Okay. All right. Everybody, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Make sure that you subscribe here on YouTube and Apple Podcasts and Spotify and Pandora and all of the places. And make sure that you join us on Patreon. Patreon.com/KF Show is where you go when you make a purchase for your VW Beetle with a 2-barrel EFI from Holly. Tell them that we sent you. We'll see you in the next time, and we'll see you next week on Patreon. See you, fellas.
See you later.